Hey friends, it's Catherine Barnes, and today's video is especially for my former students. Or I guess it could be a message from a millennial to Gen Z. And I just wanted to say a few things. First, to give a little introduction, I just finished up 8 years of teaching middle school, and I really learned a lot in that period of time. And I have a lot of regrets about my first 5 years because I think I yelled too much. I think I was too strict. And I think there were some things that, from the student point of view, it probably looked like I was overreacting to. And those things had to do with the fact that I didn't understand my own brain. I didn't understand my own learning differences. I didn't know that having the chaos of students moving all around a room can really set off my brain. So, this first part of this message is an apology to anybody who had me between 2014 and 2018, 2019. I'm sorry. I think I made a lot of mistakes where I was too hard on you. And I want to say a big thank you to the class of 2022 in case somebody from that year happens to see this video, because in your year, you guys were given a survey to rate me as a teacher. And my eighth graders really helped me to see that there were a lot of areas where I wasn't serving you and I was falling short. So thank you for giving me that feedback. And I'm sorry for my mistakes. And if you're a former student of mine and you'd like to talk to me about any of this, send me a message. I'm happy to talk to you. Now, if you're some rando on the internet and you're pretending to be one of my former students, I'm going to tell you to screw off. But if you're one of my former students, by all means, please get in touch, okay? So that's the introduction. Now let's get into the three things that I would like to tell you. And I'll just say them real quick before I dive in. The first one is hard work is not something you should be doing all the time. The second one is don't be thinking about which college is going to pick me. You need to be thinking, which college am I going to pick? And then the last one is that it's really important to be politically involved. And I think your generation already knows that, but I'm just going to reiterate it a little bit. So let's start off with hard work, okay? First, let's talk about this stuff that I see everywhere that says, oh, Gen Z is going to save the world. Man, when I see that, I want to punch a wall because it is not your job to fix all of these problems in the world that you didn't create. It is the job of everyone who is alive on this planet right now. And in many ways, I would say it's less of your responsibility because you didn't create the problems, okay? The other thing is there's this idea that like once you reach a certain age, like you're no longer capable of changing the world. And that's nonsense, dude. I might not be in my 20s anymore, but I got a lot of world saving left in me. Thank you very much. So, maybe when you hear that Gen Z is going to save the world, you feel invigorated and you really like it. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. Okay. It's just a bunch of old people projecting onto you. So, anyway, back to the hard work. I can remember being your age and I can remember being so stressed and so worried about college and about my future. And I got this idea in my head that as long as I was working, okay, and remember, I'm a middle class, upper middle class person. So to me, work meant doing schoolwork or doing an extracurricular activity. It's a whole other video to talk about the fact that that is not everyone's definition of work, right? But anyway, I thought as long as I was working on schoolwork, on my extracurriculars, and not messing around on the internet or hanging out with my friends, if I was doing those things, it meant that I was being virtuous and I would be rewarded eventually with lots of money and, you know, all of these things that we think are going to take care of us and make us happy in this culture. When I got to college, it was the same thing. In fact, it kind of went into overdrive. I thought, okay, well, I'm studying music and this is not a practical major. So I better make sure that I'm doing something all the time because if I do that, then that means I'm going to be safe. And this is what I want you to know. That is not necessarily the case. So if you're going to work hard on something, it's important to look at it and think, okay, if this doesn't pay off in the way that I think that it's going to, am I going to feel okay with that? And if the answer is no, then you might want to ask yourself, should I be doing this hard work? Now, I know that right now you're at a place in your life where you don't get to make all of those decisions. As you get older, you do get more responsibility, but you also get more choice. So maybe just tuck this one away for when you get to start making decisions about how you use your time. There's a really great book that I highly recommend that I wish I'd had at your age called Laziness Does Not Exist by Dr. Devin Price. And I recommend that you check that out because Dr. Price basically says exactly what I just said. This idea that you've got to be working constantly and that that's what makes you virtuous is really harmful. Okay. And the point is, it's okay to rest. It's okay to relax. It's okay to say, you know what? I'm going to take 2 APs instead of 4. Or I'm only going to do 1 extracurricular activity. Or I'm only going to volunteer in a way that's easy and convenient for me. Okay? It's okay to do less. So then I hear what you're saying to me. You're saying, oh, but I have to because college. So let's talk for a minute about college. College is a pyramid scheme. That's something that I told my students in 2018, and in some ways it's not true. It is very important to get into a good college and play by all those rules if you want to have certain kinds of success in life. And here's what they don't want you to know. Colleges don't really care about you. They don't. You are a number to them. They want your money, or they want your parents' money, or they want your brain, your identity, your special qualities if you're getting a scholarship. Okay. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go for your dreams. I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard. I'm not saying any of those things. But what I am saying is that you are the one with the power. Okay. You are the one who gives those colleges the power, and they don't want you to know that. Okay. So you're saying, well, all right, but what if I don't get into college? What's going to happen then? Well, here's another thing I think they don't want you to know. Community college is very high quality, especially here in San Diego. Here in the state of California, we have the 2-year transfer program where you can go to community college, you can get all of your general education requirements out of the way, and you can transfer to a UC or a Cal State school. And no one's going to know the difference. They're not going to look at your degree and go, oh, this person did 2 years of community college. They have no idea. The classes are cheaper. The professors are great. They're really focused on helping you and not just on doing their fancy research that they do. And, you can also take some time to work. So, and when I say work, I mean like work for money so that you have an idea of what that's like and so that you have some of your own money that nobody else can tell you what to do with. Okay. So, unfortunately, there's kind of a stigma about community college, and there's this idea that it's not as good. And unfortunately, in some ways, that stigma is real. The reason I'm telling you this, though, is I want you to understand that the worst case scenario, it's really not that bad. It's actually really good. And the colleges don't want you to know that, okay? They give you this idea with their glossy brochures and their websites that you're going to go to these top tier schools and you're going to have a certain kind of experience. Guess what? You are the creator of that experience, not them. Okay? You are the one with the power. So I want you to stop going around going, oh my God, I have to do all this work so that a good college is going to pick me. And I want you to walk around thinking, which college am I going to pick? Which college am I going to grace with my glorious presence? This doesn't mean that it won't hurt if you don't get into a school that you want to get into. I know it's really, really painful. And you are the one who matters, not these colleges. If you need me to remind you, send me a message and I will remind you. Okay? Awesome. So here's the last thing I want to tell you. And that is that it's very, very important to be involved politically in the ways that are right for you. And that last part right there, the ways that are right for you, we're going to come back to that. Okay. But let's start off with the importance of being involved politically. So when I was in high school, I had a history teacher, and he told us that the ancient Greeks had a word for people who didn't participate in politics, and that word was idiote. Okay? I think you get the point of that little story. So the thing is that one of the most important things you can do is vote. And unfortunately, in this society, we don't make it easy to do that. I mean, come on, elections are on a Tuesday. If they really wanted people to vote, they would put it on a day when people traditionally don't have to work. Or better yet, they would make it a holiday on which no one has to work. But no, because again, we don't really want people to vote. Okay, so you will get busy, and there may be times when you miss an election. Full disclosure, I just missed the recent primary because I was so busy doing my show at San Diego Fringe, and I'm a little pissed about that because it was really important to me to nominate someone for governor who is not Gavin Newsom, because his crappy early school start times law is part of the reason that I needed to leave teaching. But that's another story for another time. Okay, so anyway, the point is, go easy on yourself if you don't always show up in the ways that you want to show up. Voting is obviously not the only thing that you can do. There are lots of other ways that you can participate in our political process. And I think your generation knows that because you guys have social media, and that makes it a lot easier than it was for us when we were your age. Protests are really great. I want to encourage you to protest. That same history teacher that I told you about earlier, he actually told us not to protest. And that was because he was a Vietnam veteran and he had a lot of trauma around that. I'm telling you to protest if it's right for you, okay? Some people, myself included, get really stressed out when we're in big crowds like that. And you know what? That's valid. That might not be your way of doing things. It might be going to city council meetings and making a comment, although that's really hard to do when you're working. So that's why it's mostly old retired people who do that. But it could be doing something like that. It could be writing a blog post. It could be making a silly video blog. It could be posting on social media. I mean, there's tons of things that you can do. Okay. Some people, I will tell you, choose not to vote. Now, I personally disagree with that, but I think it's really important that we have the option not to do that, because there's some countries where you have to vote, and that creates a whole other set of problems. Okay. So, you know, that might be part of your process. I don't encourage it, but you have to think critically about it for yourself. Here's the thing about voting, the other thing that's really important. It's way more important to vote for like the obscure sounding local stuff than it is to vote for like president, okay? Because we're from California, so our vote for president doesn't really count anyway, okay? If you really want to vote for president, you got to move to like Iowa or Arizona or Ohio or someplace like that, okay? The things it's important to vote for are things like county board of supervisors. That's really important here in San Diego. Board of Education, you know, mayor, city council, these kinds of things. I think when I lived in La Mesa, there was some kind of like local planning, land use planning commission, that type of stuff. The weirder and more obscure it sounds, the more it impacts your day-to-day life. Okay. So keep all of that in mind. So I think I've said what I need to say. First of all, if you're going to work hard, and there are times when you will want to, and there are times when it can be very pleasurable, take a look at the hard work you're going to do and ask yourself, if this doesn't pay off in the way that I think it's going to, will I be okay with having done it? And if the answer is yes, then work hard. And if the answer is no, then don't. Laziness does not exist. Okay. Second thing is, college and all this stuff is very, very scary. But the worst case scenario is really actually pretty great. So don't think, which college is going to pick me? Think, which college am I going to pick? Okay. And the last thing, be politically involved in whatever way is right for you. Because if you don't, you're an idiote, per my high school history teacher and the ancient Greeks. Okay. Okay, that's all I have for you. This is a 15-minute long video, so I'm not sure how many Gen Z people will actually watch it, but it's here for you if you decide you want to hear what I have to say. Thank you so much for the privilege of getting to be your teacher and for everything that you taught me. And I am really going to miss every single one of you. And if you want to find me, you can find me here on the internet saying and doing crazy things related to music, theater, and neurodiversity. Thanks so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.